Hi there, welcome back to our channel. So today we're going to do something a little bit different, as we're going to dive into one of the simplest yet most important types of foundation in building construction, which is the pad foundation. So whether you're a student, a site supervisor, or someone interested in how buildings stand, this video will give you everything you need to know. Stay tuned as we take you through the process. Drawing experiences and construction activities from one of our own sites. Now, we start by telling you what a pad foundation is. A pad foundation is also known as an isolated footing. It is a type of shallow foundation used to support a single column. Its job is simple: to spread the weight of that column safely into the soil below. Pad foundations are usually square, rectangular, or circular, and they are most often made of reinforced concrete. The next thing we need to look at is when we should use pad foundation. Of course, pad foundations are used when the building loads are moderate and the soil has good bearing capacity. You will commonly find them in residential buildings, small office structures, warehouses, or low-rise commercial buildings. Any project where individual columns carry the load, pad foundations are usually the go-to choice. But note that the bearing capacity of the soil must be determined by a good and well-done geotechnical survey, whose results will then recommend, based on its findings, whether a pad foundation is ideal or not. Now, the next thing to look at here is the types of pad foundations. There are several types of pad foundation, and each one has specific purpose. One is the plain concrete pads, which is used for very light loads with no reinforcement. Two, it is reinforced concrete pads. This is the most common type, strengthened with steel bars or mesh. The third one is stepped pads, used when the load is heavy and the pad must be thicker at the bottom. Four is combined pads, used when two columns are so close that their individual pads would overlap. And five is pads with grade beams. Now, where pads are connected by beams to distribute loads or reduce differential settlements. And you will see that as we continue in this particular project of ours, this is what we used. The pads connected with a beam that links all of them together to help distribute the load of the building and prevent differential settlements. Now, to calculate a pad foundation, to design a pad foundation, there are things that engineers take into consideration, which is number one, the load from the building. Number two is the soil bearing capacity. which of course is determined through the geophysical test, geotechnical test. Then the next thing is the pad area, which is now determined by dividing the column load by the soil bearing capacity. After that, then the reinforcement is added by the engineers to resist bending and shear forces. And finally, the thickness of the pad foundation is determined, which is usually between 450 millimeters and 900 millimeters. Now, the next thing we need to talk about is the construction process of a pad foundation. For us at UMake, construction of pad foundation follows a straightforward sequence. First, the site is set out and the exact location of each pad is marked. Next, excavation is done to the required depth. In this case, that was 1.2 meters depth. Next is a thin layer of concrete poured to provide a clean surface, and of course like a concrete cover for the reinforcement. And the next thing is the reinforcement bars are then placed according to the engineering drawings and specifications. Then, if needed, formwork is installed around the pad. And for this particular one, after casting to the base, to the 450 millimeters that was designed, we had to do formwork to bring it up. Then, finally, starter bars are left protruding to connect the parts to the column and the beam that links them all above. So that is the process we took here for this particular pad foundation. Now, there are some common mistakes that weaken a pad foundation. These include poor or no soil testing, incorrect concrete mix, inadequate reinforcement, and skipping compaction or not curing the concrete properly. So, if you come to a site and you see that your excavated well is already flooded, the next thing you need to do is, before pouring your concrete, pump out the water and prepare the surface correctly before pouring your concrete. Now, let's look at the major advantages that make people want to adopt pad foundation in their construction projects. One, pad foundations are economical. They are easy to build and ideal for low-rise structures. They use less concrete and can be completed quickly. That's if you compare that to when you're doing raft foundation. You will notice that the difference is enormous. However, they are not suitable for weak soils or very heavy building loads. So you should take note of that. Before you consider pad foundation, ensure that your soil test specifically mention that your soil bearing capacity is high. Pads may also settle unevenly if the soil varies from one column location to another. So that's something you need to watch out. And for us here, what we did to check this is to connect all the columns. Like as you can see here, at this point, we are connecting all the columns with a beam of 450 millimeters thickness. Of course, with reinforcement bars of 16 mm, 6 bars of 16 mm round, connecting all the columns. And this is after we have cast the base 450 millimeters, then use the formwork to bring up the columns to this height. Then we are connecting them all to ensure that the load is distributed evenly on all the columns, and even if there is any form of sinking, it to also be uniform. So that is what one needs to take into account when adopting pad foundation. Now that we have gone through all the activities and method of construction, the advantages, and of course also the disadvantages of a pad foundation, it is important to state here that if you want to build, you should note that it is not in your hands to choose the particular type of foundation that you want to do. It is strictly based on the recommendations from the geotechnical survey test and its result. From the computation, of course, there must be recommendation of the kind or types of foundation that will be suitable for that building. In most cases, they will recommend at least 2. And then it's now left for you and your engineer to choose between those. In some cases, they may just recommend only 1, but in most cases, they would recommend at least 2. So be it known that you don't just wake up and say, oh, because my friend in so and so place did pad foundation, I want pad foundation for my own building too. No. There is a process that needs to be followed to ensure that your building stands strong. Let us get that. And of course, this will help to ensure that our projects are realized and are successful by the end of the day. So, in our subsequent videos in this series, we are going to show you the completed foundation to DPC for this our particular project, and of course telling you the cost and the quantity of materials used to realize this project, and of course take you through all the other processes from the foundation to the DPC, from the DPC to the decking, and all that it took to actualize that. Now, note that pad foundations may be simple, but they play a critical role in the stability of most small to medium-sized buildings. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Drop a comment if you have any question or want to reach out to us for any of your projects. Please contact us via the number on the screen or send us an email from the email in our description. Thank you for being with us this far, and see you in the next one.